Pistols, guns and blasters, assault weapons at your disposal. Here in the small Enigma shop, we have everything a gold needs. Hey good sir, how can I help you?
Can I get a kill confirmed at 70%?
Coming right at ya. Do you want it with any condiments on the side?
Can I have some mustard on the side? Wait, no, that's too much.
Man, people these days don't know how to sell their products. Here, let me show you some more about blasters. Have you ever thought about maining a weapon, but also wanting a challenge? Well, you just described Queen 9 mains. But here's something that can give you that to a less painful extent. Blasters are famous for their incredibly inconsistent place on the meta. From dominating every weapon with the threat range and aerials the weapon has, to being dominated by the simplicity of half of the cast. Simplicity being a huge factor here. Let's take a look on the Blasters kit. Neutral Light is a 2-piece move, with a third one being activated on hit. Covering about the same height as the default character hitbox, this move's purpose varies from starting and extending some strings to covering any approaches close to the player. On paper it sounds good, but when you take in mind this move's active frames, well, it makes the move one of the least used on the weapon. It's easily punishable, and most of the time it's not even used to catch people off guard, used to extend an already ongoing string. Just like Spear Neutral Light, Side Light covers a great distance in a short amount of time. A one-hit move with reasonable active frames and ending lag makes up for the perfect poking tool. Quite similar to Neutral Light, but Side Light takes advantage of its speed to make up for any flaws the move has. This one being generally that it doesn't hit right in front of the player, nor stag. Sword D-Light is everything this move aims to be, but somewhat fails to, and rightfully so. Blaster's D-Light is a 3-piece move that covers about the same range as Side Light, but puts the focus onto its stun and active frames, making it the perfect combo starter for blasters. From stacking up damage with either D-Light Sair or D-Light Nair, to killing at an absurd percent with D-Light Recovery. It also shares some characteristics with Sword D-Light, these being that both moves only cover the lowest part of the stage, being very close to the ground, making it that some moves that, elevate you from the ground actually dodge your move. And they also hit stack, on blasters being the only get off me move the weapon has. But let's get high for a little bit. And no, I don't mean that high. Or that high. I mean the air kit of this weapon. Neutral Air is a double blast move, perfect for juggling your opponents either in platforms or on plain mid-air. Covers a great upwards distance, making blasters a hard weapon to game casually. It strings into itself for a ladder combo, or it also can be used as a poking option if your opponent is too floaty. Side Air is a triple blast move that covers a great sideways range, with multiple purposes such as spacing approaches, starting and extending combos, and killing. This move embodies the term of personal distance, since it does a great job putting your enemy at bay if they get too comfy with their approaches or overextensions. Down Air is a 2-piece double blast with the second part of the move being activated on hit that mainly works as a string extender and overextension punisher, with no true combos after hitting it, but many tight strings that can be done afterward, since this move is thrown out basically as a dodge read. It makes up for a good damage dealer. But what makes blasters so hard, or usually an uncommon pick for many people in the current times? Inconsistency. The weapon has some minor flaws, like Neutral Light being a move that lasts for too long and is usually the most punished move on the weapons kit. You can use it to catch approaches, but the move doesn't even do that most of the time. You'll often see people outrange it, or just dash dodge through it, or sometimes even just squall right through it, like nothing. The tightness of some strings is something that can be mostly unreliable. You hear Qatar players complain about either the Neutral Light recovery's inconsistencies or the many positioning problems D-Light has. While that doesn't happen on blasters, the strings the weapon provides do require some sort of mastery or average knowledge over the weapon for them to be used correctly. Did you know that at 0, after hitting a dare, in order to get a Sair as a string, you have to do the move without moving forward. If you do move forward, the Zair will miss and you'll be punished for it. Did you know that sideline air is a 1 dodge frame string, but only if the sideline hits while the enemy is airborne? Otherwise the nair will not connect. Things like that make the weapon a little bit harder than it needs to be, and it's not entirely a bad thing. It's good to have hard weapons that reward you for having a greater knowledge on the game, but in the current day meta, that is not the case. Due to its range and threat zones, blasters can excel in many matchups, even the losing ones, but as I said before, it requires you to know those range and threat zones like the palm of your hand. Here's my personal opinion on the blaster matchup, and as always, take them with a huge amount of salt, since this is only my opinion and bias. Blasters can get around all the weapons cast if played correctly, mainly losing to weapons that completely outrange it, or weapons that cover all of Blaster's death zones. The flowchart is quite similar to the sword one, but the main difference is, as I said many times, just like a broken record, the simplicity of the process. As a noob, it's way harder to understand a weapon's characteristics if your only thing in mind is to push a button and pray for it to hit. Mastering a weapon takes time, but it's worth the effort even if the path is troublesome. The example of this is our favorite big bite man, Cody Travis, since he's the longest running player that solely mains axe and blasters, aka Paraza. And if he doesn't play his main character, he either works his way out with either blasters or axe, showing his mastery over those two weapons. That's always a threat, even if the weapons are on the lower side of the meta sometimes. The same can apply to you if you choose to play blasters. You can get rewarded for all the effort and time you put into the weapon, but know that there is bullshit alongside the road, so don't get demotivated by that. And as always, thank you for watching.